Hey everyone, it's Kenji. We're going to make some lentil soup. This is a very simple lentil soup. The only slightly sort of tricky bit about it, the thing that makes it a little bit less than absolutely simple, is that we're going to start with making like a gremolata, so lemon, parsley, and garlic. And then that gremolata is going to essentially flavor the soup, but also become like a little drizzle that we put in at the end to like give it a pop of flavor. Every time I use a microplane like this, people come and tell me, oh, you should do it this way. Which I just don't like doing it that way. I find it's much faster to plant the tip of the microplane and grate your lemon like that. Okay, so drop it. All right, so some lemon zest. I'm gonna get some garlic cloves. I'm gonna use my old garlic press for this one. You can chop by hand, of course, but one of the reasons you might want to avoid a garlic press is that, it really crushes the garlic, and so it makes the flavor really strong. And so if you weren't going to like immediately start cooking with this, say, or mixing it into something, I wouldn't use a garlic press. I would use something else. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to immediately cover it with some olive oil. And then we'll give it a little stir, and that will slow down. After you chop up garlic, there's these reactions that occur that form allicin, which is the stinky part of garlic. And by covering up and stirring it so those bits of garlic are all kind of separated from each other, you really slow down that reaction so it won't get quite as stinky. It'll just maintain a nice garlicky flavor. All right, and then some parsley. This recipe here, it's essentially, once we get to the actual lentil soup part of the process, it's essentially one of the simplest soups I know how to make. But it's like another one of these recipes that's just like a really good kind of core technique, a blueprint for many other recipes. Once you know how to make a basic lentil soup like this, you follow the exact same process, the exact same steps, but you just switch out the aromatics. You might switch out the garnish. Maybe you switch out brown lentils for red lentils, and you can wind up with a whole bunch of very vastly different tasting dishes. In fact, you don't even need to use lentils at all. You could do this, a very similar thing here with, say, black beans or farro. The process of sort of sweating aromatics into oil and then cooking a grain or a bean, a grain or a pulse in them is something that you do across many, many cuisines, and you do it over and over and over. All right, so we'll take, say, not all that parsley, but a lot of it. I'll season that with some salt and MSG, some black pepper. And that's going to be kind of our finishing sauce. We'll drizzle that onto the top of the soup when it's done to give it that little bright kick of flavor. I'm going to save this parsley. We're going to put it into our soup later. In the meantime, we're going to chop up some vegetables. So very basic mirepoix. We're going to do carrots, onions, celery. You could do this with a leek instead of an onion, or some scallions instead of an onion, or you could do it with a leek and an onion if you're really into that extra oniony flavor. But these are all going to end up staying in the soup, so we're going for a pretty small dice on this one. Lentils are inexpensive. They're part of many cuisines. It's sort of like they're the peasant food of many cuisines, which are usually the best foods. Very inexpensive. So, you don't really have to worry about sort of how precise your knife cuts or how, rustic or refined the dishes. You can very roughly chop everything and it'll still taste very good. But we're going to try and go for about 1/4 to 1/8 inch dice on all our vegetables. So celery slit lengthwise and then crosswise. Onions, carrots, and celery, in France it's called mirepoix. In Spain you would call this mixture, or maybe a mixture of onions and peppers and celery, sofrito. In Italian, the same thing, sofritos. But it's the sort of the basic flavors of a lot of dishes, whether it's going to be a soup or a stock or a stew or a braise. You get the sweetness of the carrots, you get the sort of vegetal grassy notes and a little bitterness from the celery, and then you get that kind of pungency from the onions. So they all kind of balance nicely together. It's similar to how, in a lot of Chinese dishes, you might start with garlic and ginger, maybe some scallions, but garlic and ginger, they also complement each other in that sort of similar way, where you get that pungency from the garlic and you get the sharpness and the higher notes from the ginger. I'm not going to say it about the onions. You all know what I'm talking about. And if not, go back and watch any one of my other videos where I cut an onion. All right, so let's get our heat going here. We're going to go in with a fair amount of olive oil, a few tablespoons, maybe even up to 1/4 cup. This is not like my finest extra virgin olive oil, but it's still a pretty decent extra virgin olive oil. We're putting our vegetables right into here. And so because the vegetables have so much moisture, they really sort of keep the temperature of the oil down. So, you know, people say, you hear that you shouldn't cook with high heat with olive oil, which is sort of true. You know, you do lose some flavors when you cook with high heat, especially if the oil is on its own and you're heating it on its own. And it really gets up into that sort of, you know, 300-400 degree territory. It can lose some of its more volatile flavors. It can turn a little bit bitter. But especially when we're sauteing like this, it's never going to get that hot because the vegetables, all the energy going to the olive oil is going towards evaporating the moisture from the vegetables. And so the olive oil never really gets up into that range where it's at a risk of kind of burning. You do lose a little bit of the aroma, but there's still plenty more remaining. So, you know, for a dish like this, which is sort of very olive oil forward, I find cooking with the olive oil from the start is a good idea. Save your real fancy olive oil for the end. So like the gremolata has the fancier olive oil. All right, so I'm gonna be cooking these down, moderately high heat, and I want them to soften, but not brown. So, you know, sweating is what we're talking about here. Should take 4 to 5 minutes or so. I'll come back when these are ready to go. So I will see you in a few minutes. All right, so our vegetables are softened. You can see our onions are kind of translucent. That's what we're looking for. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take about half of this gremolata, you know, a good chunk of it, and get that in there so that we build in some of that kind of lemony, garlicky, parsley flavor. And I'll throw this in there too. We'll add some fresh parsley at the end, don't worry. Oh, that smells really good. All right, and then lentils. This is half a pound of brown lentils. You could use brown, yellow, pui lentils, patui lentils. And we're gonna do this the same way we would as if we were making like a risotto, you know, or like a pilaf, where we're gonna kind of very gently fry the lentils in that sofrito mixture, in that mirepoix mixture, until they're just very, very lightly toasted, get a little extra flavor in there. Okay, and then we're just gonna go in with a quart chicken broth. This is store-bought chicken broth. You could use water, you could use like Better Than Bouillon, you could use homemade stock, vegetable stock, whatever you want. You know, if you want to keep this all vegetarian or vegan, obviously you can use vegetable stock or water and it'll be just fine. Okay, and our final ingredient, a potato. I often make lentil soup without the potato, but you know, my ex-wife is Colombian, and the lentil soup that they eat down there always has little chunks of potato. I think, well, most things down there have little chunks of potato because it's like potato land. But I came to really like it. You know, I think it adds a little nice bit of textural contrast. It thickens it up a little bit also. So we're going to cut this potato into planks. Okay, then we're going to cut those planks into strips. I think I showed people this before, but when you're cutting potatoes, instead of going up and down like that, making the potato stick, you just hold it in place and pull your knife back like that, and the potato doesn't stick. Works for any kind of thing that tends to stick to your knife.
Potato, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
All right, so tiny potato chunks into the soup. Drop a bay leaf in there. We're gonna let this come to a simmer, and we're gonna cook until those lentils are tender. That should take, you know, it depends on how dry and how big your lentils are. Generally, it'll take, on the lower end, like 20 minutes. It could take up to like 45 or so. I imagine with these lentils, it'll be around 25 minutes or so, but I'll let you know when I come back. So I'll see you in about 30 minutes is what it took. So I'm just gonna take these bay leaves out. You can use tongs if you don't wanna stick your finger into boiling water. All right, so at this point, the lentils are fully cooked and the potatoes are fully cooked. Nice and tender. You don't want al dente lentils. Dried beans generally don't want al dente. All right, so I like my lentil soup a little bit chunky. Hi, Chen. And a little bit smooth. So we're gonna kind of give it a few pulses with a hand blender. You could also take like half of the soup and stick it into a standing blender and then pour it back in so you get that kind of texture. But you know, if you like your lentil soup really smooth, you could also completely smooth it out, but I like them a little chunky like that. Also, when I was going through my fridge just a moment ago, I saw that I had a bunch of yogurt in there, and so I thought to myself, you know what, normally I do just the gremolata as it is, but today, why don't we make this into like a flavored yogurt to stir into the lentils? I think that will be delicious. All right, we're gonna finish this off with some lemon in here. And some lemon in the soup. Brighten it up. You could also do something like vinegar, sherry vinegar, something like that if you'd like. Let's get some more fresh parsley in there into both those things. And then we'll stir this all up and taste it for seasoning. Want to make sure our salt, pepper, olive oil, acidity is all nice and bright. Sharp and in focus. Like this new camera hopefully is.
Oh, fuck.
Wow. It's good. You know, you don't expect things that are just like, I don't know, this sludgy to taste so good, but it tastes real good to me. Delicious bronze sludge. If I take this over to my friend's place, I'd be a sludge packer. All right. My kids are going to like that. All right, let's mix up this brand new off-the-cuff yogurty gremolata and then taste that for seasoning. I think we need a tiny whisk for this. There we go. I mean, that's just like a good vegetable dip on its own, you know? Or a good sauce for fish or chicken or something. Good. All right, let's get this into a bowl. And there we go. Lentil soup with a gremolata, parsley, garlic, lemon, olive oil. It's really simple. It can be adapted into a million other dishes and flavors. Yeah, I think that yogurt is a good move. I think I'll include it in the recipe. Yum. All right, you can get the recipe for this lentil soup over on my free Patreon. If you are a Cookbook Club member, you can also expect to see some lentil soup variations that start with this sort of same basic blueprint but go off into wild other directions. But the point is, once you know how to make this, you know how to make some other things. And I will show you how to make those other things on the Cookbook Club over on my Patreon. So guys, gals, and non-binary pals, see you later.